Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Season 2, Episode 15. First thing as always, thank you to those of you that have subscribed to my channel. If you are new, names will go up over here. And thank you to those of you that have been following and supporting me on the forum. Recognition goes up over here. Now, I have one notification before I start. So, sadly, on Friday, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, passed away, which is a massive shame. So, a moment of silence. Okay, let's get back into this video. So in today's video, I want to cover something so simple that, again, it applies to beginners as well as experienced players, and everyone who buys a riff will go through this process. So what type of player are you? Are you a mid-cap player or a high-cap player? Before we get into this video, you're probably wondering, why is Gamble wearing his parka in April? Well, the simple reason is, this week in the UK, the weather has been up and down, and the last couple of days have been really chilly, and that's why I'm wearing it in this video today, to keep me warm. Now, this video, enjoy it for what it is. It's just a bit of fun, aimed at beginners, and I believe experienced players can relate. I'm going to be using examples from my experience playing and seeing players at different sites, and some of my experiences collecting riffs and using them examples. If there's anything that I get wrong or forget, feel free to put your answers in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, to my left, which will be your right, I have a few mid-cap options here, with a few BBs and other ideas for beginners particularly. And to my right, which will be your left, I have my high cap options and the riff that I'll be using to demonstrate. So let me show you which one it is today. This is my E&L AKS74U. It has no batteries in this. As you can see, semi, full auto, holding down. And there's your proof right there. So this is what I'm going to be using for my example. Now, when it comes to Airsoft, there's actually three options. The first one is low cap, then mid cap, then high cap. Now, low caps you can get, but bear this in mind, beginners. You can only get low caps for certain models, okay? Not every single option will have that. Some may be compatible, some may not. And again, it depends on the prices and where you buy them from. So one example that I can give you from what I've researched, particularly when they say low cap, is the P90 model by SEMA and the P90 by Tokyo Marui, I believe, as well. Again, that's just one example. I haven't researched everything, so just bear that in mind, what model you want to go with. But the most standard and common one is the mid cap and the high cap. Now, depending on where you live, okay, whether you want to buy locally or abroad, again, read the description. Again, it will all be there covering everything. And particularly sometimes what you may not read, particularly in the description, is what type of mag will come with it. And, well, unless you go thoroughly through the details, you may miss it completely. So there are two main options when you buy your riff. I'll grab one here. This is the mid cap. This is the high cap. And again, both will vary in their designs as well as their material, how they're made. Now, the mid cap, as you can see, there is no space up here to open. So with a speed loader, you put the BBs through here for the mid cap. There's nothing on the bottom to load it. However, with a high cap, as you can see here, you don't put the BBs through here. You put them through here. Hopefully you can see that. And then once it's completely full up, you load it through here. It cranks up all the BBs. I will demonstrate this, okay? Now, when you buy your riff, again, like I said, check the description. It will either say mid cap or high cap. Now, if you have a particular preference, okay, you may want to look at another option, but most times you can be picky with the other options that you get, but that is up to you. Again, this is just preference and an idea, particularly in this video. So what I'm going to do now is just show you these few things quickly. So I bought this from my local site, Red Alert. If you want to know the details, there they are. These are 2.8s. In this bag, also 2.8s. So these are just a few options for beginners to consider. Again, now I have a speed loader here as well. I don't know why they call them speed loaders, but anyway. Now, sometimes they will be mentioned in the description, sometimes they won't. So when you open up your box, you'll be like, well, what's that one thing? And it's a speed loader, which can come in handy if you haven't got one. Now, sometimes riffs will come with these, sometimes they won't, so just bear that in mind if you haven't got one. These are not expensive, they're pretty cheap and easy to replace if you lose them. I don't recommend losing them though. You can get fast options. They say these are speed loaders, but that's as fast as you can go. And it depends on if the BBs will decide to fit in the mid caps and whatnot. You can get better versions of these, and a few of my friends have got better versions where it literally will load the mag within seconds, whereas this could take maybe a minute or two. Nothing too extreme, but if you're in a skirmish, now you can actually take these in with you, particularly in skirmishes. So if you know you're going to go through a load of BBs, it does come in handy to take this in the field with you. Depending on battle sim and milsim events, again you can have this or the other option that I mentioned, but they may say you can't use these unless you're in a safe zone or your FOB, forward operating base. If you're dead, you can reload, that sort of thing. So just bear that in mind. So I just want to give you a few examples, particularly for the beginners. Those of you that have been experienced, well, you have your own technique and way of doing things. So I'm just going to show this quickly. Now, for the speed loader, easy with a bottle. All you do, hopefully you can see this, use your hand as backboard, pour away like so. I won't load it, oh I have loaded it completely already. Wow, that was pretty impressive. If there's too many in there, so will this close? No, as you can see, BBs go everywhere. So in that quick space of time, I quickly just picked up the BBs because I don't like BBs getting everywhere because I have to pick them up eventually. So as you can see, this is pretty much full, ready to go. And like so, if I remember Midcap, I'll show you quickly, like so. And again, you can use your thumb, finger, left-handed, right-handed, your choice, your preference. Now, a few tips here. I'm not going to load it fully, and it won't fire anyway. So, there's always going to be a few BBs that get out. Simple reason. If you're like me, even though you get a lot of BBs, simply just roll them back in. There you go. Save some BBs. Now, if you listen carefully, no sound. And this is why a lot of experienced players prefer mid-caps, depending on which option, again, you go with the riff. Again, it's preference, but you can't hear it, so you've got a lot more stealth option there. That's a pro right there. Now, what I'm going to show you next is the high cap. So, this one here. Again, open up. Now, I highly recommend, if you get the chance, again, it's preference, how you want to load your high cap. Now, I have seen a lot of novices, and probably even I'm guilty of this, where we've literally just grabbed a handful of BBs and just done this, and many of them just fall out like you just saw before the technical glitch. So, my advice is get a bag like this, pour your BBs in, and then with a high cap, do this. Before I do actually, I have seen one player do this, and I'm about to demonstrate it right now. If you do this with a high cap mag, and he was renting on the day, he must have been a young player, about 14, 15, give or take. He was doing this, and bear in mind he had a bag or a bottle, I can't remember exactly. He was doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. He wasn't actually counting out loud, but he was doing it one at a time. If you do that, you're going to take forever. By the time you get ready, the day is gone. Okay? So, all you need to do, open up. Now, if you have more BBs, it's easier. So naturally, I'm going to angle this slightly to grab a handful of BBs. Like so. I've got a handful here. Now, I'm going to get closer. Hopefully you can see this. So now I drop them all. So even if I drop them, they're still in the bag, which again means you get to reuse them, like so. So I'll do it one more time. haven't got as many this time, so hopefully, I am trying to maneuver this so you can see, so bear with me, trying to hold the bag, so hopefully you can see this, again, small, anyway, it's just an example, so close it, on already, so the pro with this is, it can fill up completely to the top, give or take, depending on your mag, again, preference, and then, very important, you crank it like so, which way it's supposed to. Now if you look this way, eventually you should see them come to the top. Yep, it's come to the top. Now if you keep cranking this until it gets really, well, more tense I suppose is the word, and then you're good to go. If there is any problems, okay, for example, you hear a crank or something here where it speeds, that probably means that you're empty. Now, I'm going to show you this quickly. Now, the good thing is, I would say, for a beginner, fill this up, do what I just did, and then look through the top again, and you'll notice there'll be a small gap. You can choose to put more BBs in if you want to, again, that's preference. But here's the most important part now, okay? Tactical Maraca. Now, these are good for beginners, okay? But like I said, the pros are you get a lot more in than you would a mid-cap. The downside, as you can tell, if you're trying to be stealthy or running, can be quite loud. And again, if your BBs are not firing, you have to keep cranking this, so that's another con. So these aren't bad for beginners, I'll be honest. I used one of these as a beginner, as a rental, and had a great time. Obviously, I was sensible with mine. So yeah, consider that. So when you buy your riff, whether it comes with mid-cap, high-cap, you may want to consider buying some mid-caps as an option. And obviously, if you get more serious into it, a battle sim, a milsim event, you're going to need mid-caps, because main events, depending on what they are, will not allow high caps. So if you consider buying mid caps, that's a good way to go for experienced players. Now I'm going to put this down quickly. In fact, what I'm going to do, this part up here actually, and the same for the mid cap, as you'll notice here, both have these little marks here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get BBs out. So with a high cap, if you haven't used them, you can easily just do this. With the top part, just pull them out like so. Shake it. Now, there's still BBs, as you can tell, in the main part here. Now, grabbing this little black mark here, you pull back on it, and the reason why I'm doing this, and you'll see, hopefully, and here we go. You see, it unspins, well, it spins them through quickly, and then you don't have to worry about cranking it or anything, it's fine, it's good to go for next time. And if you shake it, listen out for any BBs. And there you go, that's the high cap. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's it for this video. No, it's not. So, just bear in mind, that's a few ideas on how to load your magazines, whether it's a mid cap or a high cap. Now, I bought a number of riffs. If you haven't seen my other videos, check them out. You'll see most of them are of the AK platform. So, sometimes if you buy a certain riff, for example, if you buy an M4, and certain mags will be compatible with other platforms, depending, again, not from my experience, but probably from other people's experiences. If you decide to buy a bunch of M4s, like I have, a bunch of AKs, if they are compatible with other makes and brands, fair enough. If not, you're going to have to buy specifically. For example, I've got a SEMA version, I've got 2 E&Ls, I've got a D-Boy, and the D-Boy is actually compatible with E&L mags, so that's a plus there, which is rare. Now, there are a few other options to consider. Now, for this one, get the bag back again. So, I'll show you quickly this one. So this is another mid-cap option. So again, like so. Then you can use your thumb. Again, remember, with a mid-cap, remember class. A few BBs come out, you just pull them back in, there you go, ready to go for next time. Now, as you can see, there are 2 variations. So you've got this type of mag for the AK, this type of mag, again, preference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you again, part here, Now, I'm going to put this in the bag here. Grab it again. Now with Midcaps, same with the spring. Hopefully you can see this. If I can actually grip it, there we go. I have to hold it from a low angle, I can't do it otherwise. There you go, straight out, clean, ready to go. Now, if there's any BBs that are loose or anything at the end of the day, just do those two methods that I showed you for the high cap and mid cap, all the BBs should come out, no problem. Now, mid cap, now this one is a high cap, but this one is actually slightly different. Now with this one, I showed you it was a crank here. You'll see with this one, same method as before. Again, it's a juggling act again. So put it in like so, open up the top of the lid. What do we remember, class? Grab a handful of BBs if you've got a bag, and like so, drop them in. Now, I'll do it one more time so I can get quite a few in here, so it loads up properly. Now, if there's any BBs loose, simply take the mag out, obviously turn it over, same thing on top. Now, with this particular option, I'm going to put this mid cap down. Like I said, this one's not a crank. This one is actually, again, I had to pay for this one. Now, the cranks tend to always come with your riff, okay, especially new. If you're buying second hand, obviously, hopefully the buyer will tell you the description. This one, if you look carefully, is a pull. Now, hopefully, I'll do this carefully as I can. Now, this mag does have a tendency, because I have used it a lot, that some BBs might shoot out at you. So I'm just being very careful here. Now, I've done that twice, I could do that 3-4 times, but either way, that's ready to go. Now, same thing applies again. If you want to get the BBs out at the end of the day, or reloading, you know what to do. Remember, class, pour it out, shake it. Now, if you hear anything like that, little rattle, again, tactical maraca. In fact, let's get this open again, make sure. There we go. And this part here again, like so. Now, just make sure I clear out all the mags, because then I can demonstrate without having to worry about BBs flying everywhere. So, same again for the mid cap here. See, in fact, I want to show this quickly if they're both different. Okay, so the high caps stay the same, apart from obviously how you crank them. Now, I've just noticed this myself actually, it's amazing what you learn after many years. Obviously, different AK models. If you look here, this little mechanism here is above, and this one here is actually below. So, from below, here we go. Grab it if I can. Like so, pull up, pull it up, there we go. And again, nothing in the mag. Now, I have got an extended high cap here, which is the same as the standard. Now, when you buy your riff, the AK S74U or anything of that line, the AK-74 platform or anything more, may come with this particular type of high cap. As you can see, it's the standard one. If you get one of these, and this actually came with my RPKS, but it never did work, I don't know why. I might just chuck it or try and fix it whenever I get the chance. But again, there's a comparison in size. The same way you operate this is the same way as this one. Now, this next one, now a lot of people, well, I say a lot of people, whether you're an M4, G, Phase 6, an AK fan, or anything else, you might get a drum option. And what I mean by that is something like this, here. Now, I'll demonstrate this quickly as I can. You unscrew the back. We'll go over this at a later date in better description. Now, this was a temporary job, so don't worry about that. So, you're probably thinking, wow, that looks pretty complicated. No, It's quite simple. You put the BBs in here. You can push this further back, as you can see. It moves. It will click into a certain place, and you can put more BBs in there. Once it gets up to here, obviously, you can see it's fed. The battery is here. So if I turn the battery on, like so, if I can reach. Now, if you listen carefully, this is a button here. I'm going to show you from my perspective. So if you listen carefully now, it should work. That's what loads the BBs up. So I'm going to put a few in here just for an example. Grab a handful of these. Now, I'll be honest with this, trying to get BBs out of this, you're definitely going to need a bag. It's a lot easier when you've got a bag. So let me just grab a... You can either do a handful, I'm just going to pour some in just to make it easier for this video. So pour them in like so. That should be more than sufficient. Put that down. So as you can see, hopefully I won't, from that angle, BB's going there. Now, same way, put it back on, screw. Now, if I show you this quickly, this is the button here, so like so. And you can see it's ready to go. So you fire your BBs. If it's not firing, simply click the button again, and it's good to go. Now, like I said, it's a pain, but it's not like exactly difficult, but unscrew, take this off, make sure you don't turn the battery off, just to make it easier, so if you do click the button like I did, nothing happens now. Now, carefully, I say carefully, line up the bag, and then pull away, like so. Now there's bound to be some that get stuck in here. That's the only downside with this particular type of drum mag. Make sure it's on properly, and there you go. Now, don't be fooled, this is actually quite bulky and does weigh a bit. Now, I would consider this for an RPK. You can use this actually in other platforms. This is a SEMA drum mag, and I found that this works with all my AK platforms. It depends on what battery you use and what your motor can take, because I find that they work in full auto. Semi, not so much, but then again I'm using just 7.4s for all my platforms. I could use higher, but again, I'm not that fussed at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to make sure this is zipped up, well, put back together, because I don't want BBs getting all over the floor and we have another technical glitch. Now, I'm just going to demonstrate this quickly. So, you've got many options depending on what platform you get. So, I'll hold it from this angle so you can see. So, I'll show you my mid-caps. You can use this one. Now, both these mid-caps are E&L and they do work in this. So, you can have this option, mid-cap, this option, mid-cap. Now, if I get my high caps. Now, this one is a pain, like I said. This one doesn't work and I find it can be a bit of an issue, but I'll give you a reference anyway. So I'll put it in here. It does lock into place. You don't hear it click like the others. But there's a reference, hopefully you can see, compared to the regular mags. Now, this can be quite a pain to get out, so just bear with me 1 second. Because that lid catches, that's why I don't like this particular model. If I do get some of these in the future, I might just get a better high cap or a mid cap for my RPK if I could be bothered. And again, budget, never forget your budget. Again, a standard high cap here. Good to go, here to click. So again, reference. Where's the other one? The pull high cap. Now I've used all of these, apart from, like I said, the extended one, and they all work in this particular model, which is quite impressive, to say the least, because sometimes E&L AKs can be a little bit picky with their mags. Again, reference. And the last one, you're probably thinking, does the drum mag work in this? Well, like I said earlier, this works with all my AK platforms, so again, just line it up. There you go. No wobble whatsoever. And again, go to full auto and have fun with this. And I have actually used this in a few games when I first started. Had a good time. Very important, make sure you have extra batteries for the drum and possibly for the riff, depending on how many BBs you go through and if your riff can take it, depending on mods and everything. But no, there you go, a little reference. So yeah, like I said, it's a juggling act trying to get through all these mags, but again, this is just an idea and reference for those of you that may consider a mid-cap or a high-cap option. Honestly, I've used both, and if I turn up on the day, most of the time I'll use a mid-cap. Depending on your game style, if you're going like all guns blazing, you might go through quite a lot of mags. If you're like me, where I tend to stick in semi more than anything, I may get through one mag, possibly two, depending on how many enemies are in the vicinity. And that's it for this video. So like, comment, share and subscribe. Don't forget to click the little bell icon so you know when the next video is. I enjoyed making this video. I look forward to making the next video. The most important thing you can do is stay safe. Now, hopefully what you're going to hear is the sound of terror. And hopefully it's deafening as well. So here we go. I'm going to shake these things as hard as I can. Now hopefully you can hear me as I'm speaking to you. Wow, those things are loud and that was tiring. What a workout. I feel great. Whew.